Welcome into the Jordy Culotta Show. Wave your hand out there, baby!
Shout out to the show.
She puts the pinky into the nostril. Man, look at that.
Healthy competition, there's nothing like it.
Y'all grow up.
The line's wrapped around the stadium.
Different strengths. I just lost a tooth.
It's going to be fun.
You know, we might have a story.
I love what you're doing.
Rougarou wants to take us fishing this afternoon.
Sharif, you play for the bad boys of the SEC, man. We don't apologize to anybody.
A lot of people are saying you're going to be wearing number 7.
I don't really know. I want to.
He look crazy, Bill. Good feet on the old man.
Definitely come back.
We'll be right back with the Jordy Culotta Show. Welcome into a Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by our friends over at Rhett Bourgeois and RMB Builders. Get in touch with RMB Builders online at rmb-builders.com. They're on Instagram. Our phone line daily is brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Coming up this morning, we're going to talk to Doug Thompson, and Ronnie Rance is going to be in studio talking a little LSU baseball, as well as the Rougarou start to the season as the Baton Rouge Rougarou get underway. We will talk to the big fella coming up here at around 8 a.m. this morning, as Ronnie will come through here. So lots to get to. Remember, Metropolitan Health Group, real doctors, real solutions, as you can find them there at Metropolitan Health Group. Get in touch with Jason Ramazan and Charlie Harvey today to get in touch with Metropolitan Health Group. Lots to react to, including LSU hosting a regional again. This will be the first time LSU's doing this since 2019, but it was announced yesterday that the Tigers are the number 5 seed, and Baton Rouge will be a host site for a regional that has the field set with Oregon State as the 2 seed. Beaver's not too happy about having to make the cross-country trip. Their message boards. Yeah, it's funny. As well as Sam Houston State and Tulane. So we will talk all about that with Doug Thompson. Real quick, hopefully everybody had a very happy Memorial Day on Monday. A nice 3-day weekend for everyone. Hopefully everybody was able to sit back, relax, enjoy, and pay homage to our veterans. A special salute to all of you out there who have served, are serving. Thank you for your service. Happy Memorial Day. Belated here on this Tuesday, so hopefully everybody had a good, safe weekend. Just Lloyd and I here this morning, a little old school feel.
Yeah, back in the bunker.
To the old days with Lloyd and I here. Katie is on a vacation all week long. Stewie out, and we'll be chopping it up. As we said, Doug will be here at 7:30. Always brought to you by the Louisiana Firefighters Association, with Thompson showing up. All right, so LSU's the 5 seed as the Tigers get the draw for the rest of the bracket. That came out yesterday. Wake Forest got the 1 seed as they will be hosting, obviously, in Winston-Salem. They'll be matched up versus the Alabama Regional, as Alabama got seed 16 as the Crimson Tide. What a ride it's been for Alabama here this season. The 2 seed went to the Florida Gators. The Gainesville Regional is matched up with Columbia, South Carolina, as the Gamecocks got the 15 seed after really kind of skidding into the postseason. For as hot as they were when LSU traveled up to Columbia, man, they really had their wings clipped for the last month of the season. Injuries, rookie walls, freshman walls, a lot of stuff just kind of popped up on South Carolina. They're in, though. They're hosting as they'll be matched up against Florida. Here's maybe the best seeding. I thought Arkansas got a tremendous draw. Arkansas will be hosting. They're at home with the 3 seed. They're matched up against Indiana State and Terre Haute's regional. As Indiana State's there, Iowa's there, North Carolina, and Wright State. So look to see Arkansas and Omaha. Clemson, South Carolina got the 4 seed. Clemson got the 4 seed. They will be hosting in Clemson, South Carolina. They're matched up with the Auburn Tigers regional. as Auburn is the 13th seed. LSU got the 5 seed. Tigers number 5 according to the seeding, and they are matched up against the Kentucky Regional. So they are matched up against an SEC Regional, and when you look at it, man, the SEC got 8 teams in. First league ever to have 8 host sites announced. Not surprising, right, with the style of baseball that's going on down here in this part of the country. But if you would have said that out of the 8 SEC teams that are hosting, and you're talking about Vanderbilt, Kentucky, LSU, Auburn, Arkansas, South Carolina, Florida, and Alabama, outside of, Alabama, who's the 16 seed, I would have said that the best matchup on the board left as an SEC school for LSU would have been Kentucky. Now, Kentucky's tough, right? I mean, they're going to be a tough matchup, and I don't want to look ahead that far just yet. But when you just look at the super matchup that could potentially be down the line, I thought it was a pretty reasonable draw for LSU. I thought that it was for the most part it looks very winnable on paper. In the Baton Rouge Regional, as we said, Oregon State is the 2 seed. Sam Houston State is the 3 seed, and Tulane, who has just a crazy story, won their league title. Only won 19 games on the seas. I mean, they were 19-40 on the year. End up winning their conference tournament and get the at-large berth, and are sent right down the road to Baton Rouge. So an incredible story for the Greenies as the Wave punched their ticket to Baton Rouge, and will be part of postseason play. And that should bring a really good crowd, right? I mean, that should travel some people down I-10 and bring some people to Baton Rouge as far as the opposing teams go, because of when you look at the travel. I don't know what the Beavers are going to bring at the 2 seed traveling down from Corvallis. I mean, that's a hell of a haul. That is a hell of a travel schedule. But, some may want to make a weekend out of it in New Orleans if they can, a long weekend out of it in New Orleans. Sam Houston State, not bad travel. I don't know what the support is for their program. And then, of course, Tulane right down the way. Closing out the regionals, and we'll get back to LSU. Vanderbilt got the 6th seed, so Nashville will be a host site as Vanderbilt won the league last weekend in defeating Florida in the championship game. Oklahoma State, Stillwater will be a host site. Charlottesville, Virginia. The Wahoos will be hosting in Charlottesville. Conway, South Carolina. Coastal will be hosting a site. And then the last 2 sites will be Stanford, California, and Coral Gables, as Miami is the 9 seed and Stanford is the 8 seed. That's where Texas A&M will be, so watch out for the Aggies, who are playing really good right now, as they played really good in the tournament last week, or up in Stanford. So those are the sites. LSU, as we said, matched up against Kentucky, and they will have this weekend's first game of the tournament, as this is a coach's choice, right? This is Jay Johnson, who likes to play the opening game. Skip and Maneri used to like the nightcap, right? They used to kind of like the spotlight and be front and center. Jay Johnson just kind of likes to get it out of the way, and it'll be a matinee. It'll be a first pitch 2:00 on Friday, as it'll be LSU versus Tulane. The Greenies and the Tigers will square off at 2:00 from the box. So should be a really good crowd. I know that a lot of people once they saw the start time were a little discouraged because some people have to stay in the office full days, but I'd imagine that a lot of people are coming up with excuses on how they get out of work on Friday now.
And from what I heard from the Mic'd Up boys, we were talking about the reason that they picked that early game on Friday is because it sets you up better for the Saturday game. Essentially, you get yours out the way, and it makes whoever wins the 3-4 matchup or the 2-3 matchup, have to kind of have a quicker turnaround. So that's why you pick the Friday game, get it out the way, and you're playing a Tulane team that has 19 wins. So you hope you make quick work of them, and then you're able to kind of set yourself up better for the weekend. So that's what I heard, because I was thinking the same thing you were. Like, you haven't hosted a regional in a long time. It's Friday. You want to put that thing at night and let everybody get in there. But Jay Johnson, once again, thinking the long term as he continues to do, because it feels like he's been setting up for this for a while with the way that they ended the SEC tournament and just kind of packed it up.
Yeah.
And said, all right, we did all we could do here. There's no reason for us to stay, burn more pitching. Let's go home and get this thing on and popping in Baton Rouge.
Johnson and the crew, as we said, will play the first game of the tournament coming up on Friday. That'll be at the Box. LSU closed off the season at 43-15 and 19-10 in conference play. LSU will have also Oregon State and Sam Houston State in this regional. If you're Oregon State, you're thinking, man, how do we get away from LSU? Last couple of years, I mean, these are two teams that have met up all along the postseason, whether it's in super regionals in Omaha. They've got a lot of history, recent history, at least between these two programs in Oregon State and LSU. So, look, Johnson was playing it very close to the vest yesterday. He's not making any comments on starting pitching. He's not making any comments on injuries. So, he's going to keep everybody playing the guessing game on how he navigates the weekend. After the way last week played out, I would imagine Thatcher Hurd gets
the nod
on Friday, right?
That's the way it seems like it's setting up because as mercurial as he's been, his last few starts have been the Thatcher Hurd that you thought you were getting whenever he came out of the portal as, I believe, the second or third ranked transfer portal pitcher out of UCLA. So whatever he found, I don't know if it was an injury thing where he didn't trust his back fully after coming back from a year off, but if you get that Thatcher Hurd and like you said, I don't know how much stock you could put in Tulane. You don't want to mess with Destiny, a team that gets hot like that and wins their conference tournament, and they're probably playing a little bit above their skis because that's just when you get hot, you're hot. That's the only thing I would say that would deter you from pitching either Ty Floyd. Obviously, I don't feel like it'll be Skeens. You'll save that matchup for Oregon State. But if you get the Thatcher you got in the last 3 weeks, you feel very confident what he can give for you on a Friday afternoon against Tulane that has they kicked. It would have been, I believe what Jay was saying was that the way he was trying to kind of predict the matchups, they were preparing for Nicholls State. They thought that that's who was going to get in. Then he's like, I didn't look at the American Athletic Conference tournament yet, and then I turned it on. He's like, maybe it'll be Tulane because he looks around the map, and it's usually an in-state team that comes and travels. So he thought it was going to be Nicholls. Now you get a 19-win Tulane team, and gives you even more confidence in Thatcher.
Yeah, without question. I thought that was, it was a really good draw. When you looked at LSU from on paper, I think a lot of people were kind of crossing their fingers that they were going to get a fairly
easy.
Yeah, you hate to use that term in sports, but something that just didn't look as challenging as something else, right? And for what LSU was drawn, I thought, man, that's a win.
Yeah.
That's a huge win to get those teams on paper. Oregon State's not bringing anybody.
Right.
They're not going to have any support here other than, parents and siblings.
Yeah, whoever wants to pack it up with the bus with them.
You know Sam Houston State. You're pretty familiar.
You played them both this year. You've already played Tulane. Right. You've already played Sam Houston State.
You've played them already, so you're familiar with him. And then, like you said, you got a Tulane team that, look, baseball's baseball, right? Sometimes bad teams get hot. And, it's inexplicable on how they pull things out, right? And I think that's what probably happened to Tulane in the conference tournament last weekend. A lot of teams looked at Tulane as, not being a threat. And next thing you know, they're dogpiling.
Yeah,
because they're going out. They've got an automatic bid. So, look.
That's not something that you see in baseball very often. They were the 7th seed in the tournament. They're lucky to even get in that thing. And then they're able to beat ECU, who has obviously some history with their coach, and Chris Godwin was at LSU. So, yeah, I think you're playing Eastern Carolina's playing that thing that we're going to win.
Oh, yeah. They're looking at hotels in Baton Rouge.
Yeah. And that was an unbelievable – I didn't even have the foresight to think that whenever that happened that maybe they'll go to LSU. I wouldn't even – considering that a possibility. Now you were playing, like I said, 19-win Tulane versus – it would have been a 34-win Nicholls State team. So – it's just an incredible draw for LSU and something that it feels like they kind of needed just to
shake it up a little bit.
Yeah, when you see the pitching woes that it's faced LSU, this is kind of sets up perfectly for your three guys because now with the way Ty Floyd's been pretty much all year, he's been if you don't have a Paul Skeens, he's been as consistent as anybody you've been able to try out as a starter. So this sets you up perfectly when LSU feels like they have 2.5 pitchers, which as Skip always likes to say, that's all you need.
Right.
And so this is a great draw for LSU.
One thing that was missing on Thursday's performance for LSU, especially in a one-run game, that stood out in LSU's loss to Texas A&M in the tournament in the third round, was that Tommy White was not available for LSU, and Jay Johnson had some comments about White yesterday, saying, "I anticipate him being able to play on Friday. He was a little banged up and beat up and needed that rest. We gave it to him. It was hard to do. Trust me. In a game that you lose by one run and the amount of guys we had on base,
17.
You would like the national RBI leader coming up at that time. So that was some temporary pain for me," Johnson talking about himself. But I think that was the right thing for Tommy and ultimately the right move for our team. I'm not conspiracy theorist. I'm not digging that. If I'm just looking at that quote, that doesn't sound like rest, right? Like, I mean, it's easy to just say we gave the guy a day off. You don't usually go in to say, giving this guy a day off was good for our team when he's the, national RBI leader and you lose by one in the postseason. Now, look, I'm not saying because you lost in the SEC tournament that the wheels are off. I am saying that comment is a little open for
interpretation.
Like, just questioning a little bit. Like, can I follow up on that? Like, what do you mean that, just I get sitting a guy in game, what are they? In game 55, right? I mean, I get it. But then, following it up saying, it's ultimately probably the right move for our team. What's up? Because this is not the time of year where you want to be battling internal issues. And I'm not starting any, and I'm not saying that there are any. But that quote leaves it open as if the team needed a little bit of rest as well. So I'm just saying they got to have White. I mean, Tommy White, he can't take any more days off. Like if this is true that he's just tired and needed rest, well, okay, you got it. Get back in the lineup. Not I anticipate him playing on Friday, right? Like, I mean, if he needed rest, a day off from competition and now what will be 8 days off is rest enough that coming up on Friday, we're good to go, right?
It's even a question.
Yeah, right. Like, I mean, like, you anticipate him playing. He's got to go. So, again, I don't want to stir it. I'm just saying that quote is.
It's a lot longer than it needed to be.
Exactly.
Like, I don't
exactly.
know.
What's up with Tommy White? We gave him the day off. Next question.
I see him on Friday.
Right.
We'll be.
Like, why did he have the day off? Well, he needed rest. Next question. What's up? I mean, it's
a lot of over-explaining for something that should be very cut and dry. And if you really want to look into it, the way he did answer the question, it feels like he's almost sending a message to Tommy
White.
Yes.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I mean, if we're playing mind games through the media right now, this is not. I mean, you can be doing that in February. I mean, you'd be doing that in March. But, I mean, come June, if the national Ribby leader needs to be benched, for the betterment of the team.
Well, and if you're giving days off, it feels like you've had almost everybody else on the team. Obviously, Tommy has a little bit of injury history when he got hurt early in the year. So maybe that plays a part into it where he just doesn't feel 100%. But if you're doing that, then give Jordan Thompson the day off. Give Dylan Cruz the day off. Give, I know it's baseball and you only have so many players, but if you're resting guys, rest guys. So I think there is a little bit maybe of a subliminal message in there, but he also said on SEC Now that Tommy White's going to play Friday. So there's not too much to look into it, I wouldn't imagine, but it was a bit of a long-winded answer for a very easy question to answer.
Hunter Fournette, Jordy, you believe in aliens. You are a conspiracy theorist.
We're just setting ourselves up just in case.
At this point, I mean, if you do not believe in aliens, you're the conspiracist. I mean, really. I mean,
the evidence is out there.
How much more info do you need? I mean,
Once the government even admits it, I think we're all good on that front. We might be on the right side of history.
Stephen Miller, Tommy's not taking any more days off. He'll be there. Spectrum Wellcare, agree, no need to rest in the SEC tournament. Andrew Messina, give me a healthier Tommy White in the regionals. Hoover didn't matter. I agree.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that I would venture to say is the way that they handled the SEC tournament with, you saw Skeens on a pitch limit where he is like, I'm absolutely not throwing more than 40 pitches in an inning. They're setting up for something bigger. So that's where, if you are nervous about anything going on internally with Tommy White and the LSU baseball team, I would keep looking at the way that Jay handled the SEC tournament and say, none of this is that big of a deal. We couldn't accomplish anything more in the SEC tournament that we didn't already set out to do. Let's get these guys some rest, which is what he's been clamoring for the past month.
Right.
And so now you're able to do that, send them home early, where will have 8 days off. That sounds like a pretty good idea to me. And Jay doesn't have anything left to prove. What does an SEC tournament championship get you? That just gets you more experience, I guess, quote unquote, or more time to see teams that you're probably going to see. Because look at how many SEC teams are hosting a regional or in like the big show.
Yeah, 8 SEC teams hosting this postseason.
How many are there?
14.
I mean,
2 on deck. Texas is a 2 seed in Coral Gables.
Why face them more than you have to?
You know. Speaking of Texas, the SEC spring meetings are underway. And this spring meeting should have some news that pops out of it. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey was speaking yesterday from Destin saying, and wouldn't say for certain, and look, we're going to get back to some baseball here in the next couple of minutes. Dougie's going to be here. Compliments of the Louisiana Firefighters Association coming up at 7:30, and then big fella, Jumbo, Ronnie Rant's going to be through here at 8 a.m. Greg Sankey said yesterday from Destin, he wouldn't say for certain, but he said that most likely that the league would vote at its spring meetings this week on whether or not to use the 8 or 9 game conference schedule in football moving forward. But he did say, Sankey did, that he's already got his mind made up. And he's made it clear that the solution should come soon. He said, I would prefer, and the quote the quote says, I would prefer not to continue to circle the airport with the airplane. He said yesterday. He said that, look, this has been talked about, and athletic directors and presidents have talked about this. Coaches have talked about this. There's not a lot more debate that can be put on the table as far as, the main speaking points for each. Right? I mean, it's pretty understandable that what each side's pros and cons are. And the 8-game schedule is what the SEC plays right now, but that includes East and West divisions, where you've got 6 division games plus 2 rotating cross-divisional games. Remember, you're adding Texas and Oklahoma to the mix on July 1st of 2024, so effectively, a year from now, Texas and Oklahoma will actually be in the room this year. They won't have any votes, but they'll just kind of watch business as it's conducted. Again, they won't have votes on this, but I believe that Greg Sankey saw the light in 2020, where there has been this high-powered debate at these SEC spring meetings between 8 and 9 games for a long time, right? Like changing up the scheduling format. One side would say, you can go to school for 4 or 5 years and not play every league. You can't play every school in the league, right? I mean, I believe Jacob Hester has a great analogy on like where he was there for 4 years and he didn't go to like 3 places or something. He didn't play at like 3 places, and it's a debating point for really opening up and playing more games so you can experience from a student athlete standpoint, more of the pageantry, more of the feel of it. And then on the other side, you say, why kill your own? Why beat yourself up when you're playing for a berth in postseason play. And the more teams you can get in, the more opportunities that you have to win it, and the more payout that the league will see from it. And now with the playoff expanding to 12 teams, the SEC seems in a prime position to really, get the majority of the spots. And I believe that Greg Sankey saw in 2020 that you can do both. That you can play 9 league games, where in 2020 during COVID they played 10. They played 10 league games, all on the SEC network, and obviously people weren't traveling to the game, but the network ratings were astronomical, way beyond people not just attending games. It was interest, it was intrigue, it was people that were tuning in from all over the country, not just dialed in specific markets and certain areas and demographics of the country. More people were chewing on just really good football, right? The NFL has tried to come up with this formula of scheduling where every game every week matters, right? You've seen a lot of these games move towards the back end of the season, so divisions are being decided in weeks 17 and 18 now, where it doesn't give you the opportunity to bench your quarterback or bench your skill players. And the reason for that is so that everybody continues to watch the product and that they can move the advertising dollar on all of their sponsors. Because the sponsors had an out for years saying, yeah, we just want to buy the big games. We're just going to throw the money at LSU, Alabama, and let everybody fight over LSU Troy. And that's what we said in this new format. Those games, the rental wins are going away. And every week you're going to be in a, SEC Western Division, SEC matched up dogfight. And I think that's what Sankey sees. He sees there's 12 spots. You've got 16 teams, ultimately, with Texas and Oklahoma joining the mix a year from now, both who give you tremendous opportunity in football to have 2 more spots in that mix. And you're also going to be able to push the ratings on weekly matchups of a lot. Look at baseball. Baseball's got 8 host sites, the first league ever to do that. Football is going to be very similar, in my opinion, in 3 or 4 years, where they've got 8 spots, 9 spots in the 12-team playoff. In the 12-team playoff. I mean, that's where these leagues are jockeying. That's what the setup is for. That's what, ultimately the chess pieces are being moved to give who's got the greatest advantage of being able to collect on those TV money, on that TV money, on those playoff berths, on the exposure, on the opportunity to grow the brand, on the opportunity to, recruit and, stack more NIL deals. I mean, all of that goes hand in hand. So, and that's happening right now in Destin.
Aren't they? From what I've read, they can kick this can down the road also, to where why wouldn't you just wait until Oklahoma and Texas get in the league, and then make a decision? Well,
and I think that they're going to see what they're waiting. I think they're ultimately waiting on kind of what the formula is going to be for this
12-team playoff.
This 12-team playoff. You want to see and give yourself the best chance here, and I think that Sankey wants some type of. Definitive, like you said, you want to keep circling the airport and the airplane. I mean, just, let's land this thing. Let's make a decision. And then if you've got to reconvene, you just come back and you say, look, we need to make a couple of earmarks here on some things that have popped up since you decided on what the league was going to look like. Now, under these rules, this is how it's going to work. So, we'll see. We'll get back to baseball. Doug is going to be here. Let's talk to Doug. Remember RMB Builders, RMB, Rhett Bourgeois, and the crew. Get in touch with them for a custom design home. If you need any handiwork done around the house, they can help you out. rmb-builders.com and on Instagram, RMB Builders. We'll be back with Doug breaking down LSU baseball here on the Jordy Culotta Show, built by RMB.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college, for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at JordyCulottaShow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest? Then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy,
Greg Brooks. Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team. Make a difference. Bet. Let's get it done.
All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show, driven and built every day by R&B Builders. Doug Thompson with us every week. Love our spot with Dougie. Remember, it's brought to you by the Louisiana Firefighters Association or Foundation, Louisiana Firefighters Foundation, that you can learn more about online at louisianafirefighters.com. They're aiming to create a safer community. They offer training courses to current Louisiana firefighters and first responders, as well as free training and consulting services to community business owners, teachers, administrators. Look, man, look them up. They are doing fantastic work at louisianafirefighters.com. That is louisianafirefighters.com. And every time Doug Thompson joins us here on the Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by Louisiana Firefighters Foundation. Dougie, good morning. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Good morning. Good Tuesday morning. Starting a day late this week.
That's right, Dougie. Heard you last week in Hoover as the Tigers were knocked out by Texas A&M by a run there on Thursday.
Yep.
You good here on this rest time? It seemed as if Coach Johnson was really looking forward to kind of getting able to get healthy for this part of the run coming up here.
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty pleased with the pitching in Hoover. Other than ironically Paul Skeens, who showed us that he's human. He's human. He wasn't able to get his slider over, but man, I really felt better leaving Hoover than I did going there about LSU's chances to make a sustainable run in the postseason, just because of the way that their bullpen pitched for the most part. So. Toughest tournament on earth, college tournament on earth. It was great weather over in Hoover. But yeah, I'm pretty excited about how the pitching staff looked this last week.
We were speculating before you came on that Thatcher Hurd may get the go in Game 1 versus Tulane on Friday, just because of what he showed last week. What have you seen from Hurd over the last couple of outings?
Well, his command is much better. He was as good as we've seen him. In Hoover. What he did well was when he got behind with strikes, or when he got behind in the count, he immediately got back to even on the next pitch or quickly thereafter. A couple guys he fell behind 3-0 to, and he actually climbed the ladder and came back to strike him out. So, his fastball is 94. It got up to 97 miles an hour at Hoover. I mean, he's got the plenty good enough stuff to win. It's just about being consistent and being able to control your fastball and establish his fastball on both sides of the plate. But I was really pleased with the way he threw it. And I'm with you. I think that this is a situation where, throwing off, so to speak, that first game is something that probably should be considered, considering Tulane is what this year, 17-40 or 18-40, whatever they are. They've had a rough go of it. So, but baseball's a crazy game. Tulane undoubtedly has their number one. Undoubtedly can, if he has a good night, can give us a lot of trouble. So it's a risky move. It always is a risky move to not go with your ace in a tournament. But I've seen it done before, and this would be one of those scenarios where I think it'd be appropriate.
Doug, this is a dumb question, and I will say that off the top, but I feel like I have to ask you because you understand what it's like to be an ace on a dominant college baseball team. You were a strikeout bulldog your senior year. You were sitting everybody down, a lot like Skeens did. When you have one off, does it mess with you mentally? Do you worry about him mentally?
No, it's a good question. No, I don't think I wouldn't say it messes with you mentally. I'd say it's just kind of the next week is restless, and you can't wait to get back out there again and do your thing again. To me, that was always the worst part, is when you have that bad outing. the next 7 days are like suffering because, you're so frustrated that that's how it went. And really the anxiety, the anxiousness to get back out there and get back into your groove is overwhelming. And there's no question in my mind, Paul Skeens, as he was walking off the field after being pulled, was, can't wait to get back out there again and get back on track.
How cool is
And I'll add one thing. I'll add one thing. Inevitably, as a starting pitcher, no matter who you are, it's been miraculous to me. I mean, I would use the word miraculous to me, how well Paul Skeens has gone out there and had 2 pitches every start. He's got his fastball cooking and his slider is just lights out, and he's got others too. But generally speaking, as a starting pitcher, I would say maybe half your starts you'll go out there, and by the second inning, maybe you'll have your 2 pitches that you can throw for a strike. But the other half of the time that you get a start, you don't have your best stuff. And the greatest pitchers are the ones that can pitch around that despite not having their best stuff. So to me, it was an unbelievable streak for Paul Skeens in terms of going out there and having a couple pitches out of the bullpen. This week he just didn't, but it's inevitable. I mean, you're going to go out there after 10, 12, 15 starts. Everybody has a bad one. And again, Skeens is just human like the rest of us.
Tommy White expected to be back in the lineup on Friday versus Tulane. He'll pack some punch, obviously, for the offense. Where are you on the offense going into this time of the year? It seems like they've been, the more dominant section of the team throughout the run. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about them heading into postseason?
Well, they're red hot, and not only the usual suspects like Dylan Cruz and Tommy White, but guys like Braden Joubert and Josh Pearson are really seeing the ball well right now. Obviously, Hayden Travinsky might be the hottest hitter in the country out of nowhere right now. So you've got these guys that down at the bottom, I say the bottom, but guys that, again, not the usual suspects, not the one that we're always talking about like Trey Morgan and White and Cruz and Dugas and all these others. You've got some guys that are really swinging the bat well down in the lower part of your depth. So offensively, I don't know that they could be in a better spot than they are. And look, I know that, people probably aren't satisfied with their showing in Hoover, but it would be tough if we were to face tougher pitching than those last 2 games. Those lefties were some of the best in the SEC, and they were number ones all day. So when you go from one number one to another and then to another, they faced 3-4 lefties that were in there 95, 96 miles an hour, throwing a fastball and a curveball for a strike. So the pitching that they faced this week would have given anyone fits. Those guys executed well, but our offense is the best in the country, not only statistically, but from a depth perspective as well. There's not a whole lot of DOs, as Coach Bertman used to call them, designated outs.
Doug, last week you were in Hoover with the team. Great job on the radio. Did you? What did you make of that tournament? Obviously, you look up and the SEC's got 8 national seeds. You were at the league tournament last week. What'd you make of the competition?
Yeah, 10 teams make it to the 64 field. That's amazing. It's the best tournament in the country. I think it's harder to win than Omaha. I think it's the best athletes in the country. This year it was unbelievable weather. Usually that would be my only gripe about Hoover is it is a bad time of year, and Hoover, Alabama gets really, really hot. But this year it was perfect weather. My favorite thing about the SEC tournament every year is that when we get in the press box and I look down right before first pitch, purple and gold far outnumbers the opposing team, and that's always great to see too. They kind of LSU fans kind of take over the city like they do in Omaha when the Tigers are there. So it's just a great tournament, Jordy. If you got kids and you want to go watch just 5 days of incredible college baseball or amateur baseball, that's the spot you want to go. It's second to none.
Sticking with the tournament and what the SEC tournament in Hoover, what do you make of? It's water under the bridge now, obviously, with LSU getting to be a host site. But what did you make of their strategy to almost get out of there a little bit early and get everybody rested? Do you think there was some credence to that, to where he doesn't want to see more SEC teams than he has to, because you might run into them down the road in a more substantial setting?
Yeah, again, man, I wasn't displeased at all when we were packing the stuff up to leave. I felt like we were, from a team perspective, that we were there long enough. We got some good reps. We saw some good pitching. We had a couple one-run games, and we got away with a win as well. So I don't think it was the worst-case scenario to get out of there, especially with Tommy White out of the lineup there in Hoover. I don't think it was a terrible time in Hoover. I think they played pretty well. They lost a couple one-run games, but at the end of the day, they were exciting baseball games, and that's just going to happen sometimes. So, I think it was a good stay in Hoover and an appropriate time to come back, and I think that rest certainly helps this time of year. I mean, it's the dog days of summer, or it's getting to be the dog days of summer. These kids have been at it since February, and having a couple days to have no baseball and just take it easy, it certainly goes a long way.
Doug, they got a good draw, right? I mean, I know it's still, you got to go out there and play, but I mean, as far as you look at the field and you look at where they're matched up from a postseason standpoint, you got to like where they are on paper, right?
You mean with their regional?
Right.
Yeah. Well, Tulane playing in. How about that? I mean, that's an incredible story. I mean, I think I saw they were 17-40 and 8-16 in conference or something like that. And then they go up there and win the conference tournament to keep themselves alive. It looked like Nichols was going to be here before that, but they played him out of here. So I prefer, honestly, opening up with Tulane over having to play Nichols. But look, Oregon State's going to be a tough team. I haven't really done any research yet, full disclosure. So if you guys want to talk later this week, I'll be able to give you a lot more info. But when I looked at all the other regional sites, the only thing I thought of, Jordy, was, man, I wish we were in that regional, or I wish we were hosting those three teams, because it seemed like there were some lower seeds than the Tigers that had, again, seemingly to me, a little easier runs through the regional. That Oregon State team scares me a little bit.
Doug, you have a great week of preparation. We'll probably touch base with you later in the week just to get a little update before first pitch.
Always down to jump on with the Jordy Culotta show, especially if Lloyd's there.
Hell yeah.
Remember, that's the Louisiana Firefighters Foundation that brings you Dougie every week. Thank you, Doug. We'll talk to you again, man.
Y'all have a great one, man.
LouisianaFirefighters.com. They offer training courses to Louisiana current firefighters. They get you ready, counseling services that will be better prepared for unexpected and untimely circumstances, and ultimately create a safer Louisiana. Online, LouisianaFirefighters.com. That is LouisianaFirefighters.com. Good stuff from Doug as he is there every week, breaking down LSU baseball and getting us ready for the matchup with Tulane coming up on Friday for the Tigers. We'll get back to LSU baseball coming up here at 8 a.m. as Jumbo, the big fella, Slimbo, will be here talking about the
God forbid.
Jeez.
He's done everything he can.
Lord.
Do we have the picture? We still have the graphic of old Jumbo.
Please.
Jumbo. Slimbo.
Put that up. Swipe
Walking
right,
into
ladies.
a trap.
Swipe right.
Compliment the man.
But we will talk more about LSU baseball coming up here with Jumbo. He'll be here at 8 a.m. Talking Tigers, and we'll get back to it. But I did see this story over the weekend, and Doug and Lloyd and I were talking a little bit before the show, and Lloyd brought it up, and it got me thinking. Jon Gruden is in town working with David Carr. And, when you just kind of like throw it up against the wall, it makes a lot of sense, right? I mean, like David Carr and am I saying the right name? Is it David?
Derek.
Is it Derek?
David is the brother.
It's unreal.
It happens to me every time.
It's
like,
unreal.
I'm not even confident that
It's
I'm right
unreal.
right now.
That's
but
unreal.
the Carr brother, the Carr quarterback.
It is Derek.
It's Derek.
It is Derek.
David is the
analyst.
I mean, they both went to Fresno State.
They look alike.
Well,
one was sacked a lot.
Yeah, for the Texans.
Yeah. I think he was the first ever pick of the Texans.
Yeah, first overall pick.
That's right. So Derek Carr.
Ruined his career.
Jeez, man. Derek Carr, Jon Gruden is in town working with Derek Carr here. And NOLA.com, our friend Jeff Duncan reported this on Friday as Dennis Allen had brought Gruden in. And a couple of things make sense here. And look, I know Gruden's been in a little bit of hot water with the NFL and I guess he's really kind of been like run.
That's what I thought. He was out of the league forever.
And when Lloyd brought it up, that was the most surprising part for me, because when I thought that the NFL had kind of like, banned him from the league, I thought that almost made him untouchable for everybody who was, involved with the league, right? Not the case.
It seemed like he was shadow banned. Like after he lost his job in the manner that he did, he was no longer talked about. He wasn't back in the booth. It was just like, all right, there goes Jon Gruden.
Like what happened to Kaepernick the player felt like it happened to Gruden the coach.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
You'll never hear from him again, no matter what.
These guys will never be around the league ever again.
And I don't know how many. That's what I thought was the interesting question. Like, I don't care that he's working with. First of all, it speaks volumes about what's going on with the Saints offense, that they have to go get Gruden to try to help, because it wasn't like Gruden was lighting the world on fire whenever he was the head coach of the Raiders. It's not like something that you're like, oh man, this guy's got an offense that you really have to see. He just had a huge contract and the Raiders were trying to get in the news. They needed to hire a coach. But for this to be your bailout move with all the potential smoke that could be around it, that doesn't feel very promising if you're looking at the future of the Saints.
Well, I would go the other way on that. I think that when you look at Carr and you look at Gruden, you got to remember where Sean Payton's offense came from.
Yeah,
Sean Payton's offense originates from the West Coast offense, but specifically Jon Gruden's version of the West Coast offense. Sean Payton's come up was really on Philadelphia's staff under Jon Gruden, who was the offensive coordinator on those teams for Philly with Andy Reid and Donovan McNabb. Payton was the quarterback's coach. He was the guy that was kind of in that room,
right,
watching and listening and learning those principles. And when Gruden and Payton get together, and they have had some on-television partnerships where when Gruden was hosting Monday Night Football, was co-hosting Monday Night Football with Mike Tirico, and they would show some of the pre-meetings beforehand, and Gruden would do his bits kind of leading up to the game. Sean Payton and Jon Gruden's sit-downs were must-watch television because of their history,
right,
because of their relationship, their friendship. But when you got them talking football, man, it was so next level, above everybody's head type stuff that you saw. There's probably not a lot of people that Sean Payton have immense amount of respect for when talking offensive football.
Yeah, I feel like that they're speaking the same language.
Right,
I'm sure he feels above a lot of people.
A ton of people.
The 1%.
A ton of people, right? Even like a guy like Joe Brady. Imagine how he was like talking to Joe Brady back in the day. It was almost like he was holding his hand. With a guy like Gruden, they're just like sitting at the bar rapping.
Yeah, they're peers.
So when you look at Gruden's offensive mind, take all the emails and off the field stuff away from it for a minute if you can. And if you can, I understand. But, look, the fact is that he's back here working with players. And I think that, somebody within that organization that worked with him in Oakland, whether it was a guy like Foster Moreau or there's a wide receiver that's been brought in to New Orleans that worked with Carr as well during their time in Las Vegas. And, obviously Carr, somebody had to say, look, man, if you bring him around, there, it's not going to be a forest fire. It's going to be a guy's a good guy. I think that somebody in there's vouching for him is what I'm expecting. I don't think you just bring, hey, let's take a gamble here,
right,
and see if we can't lose the locker room in May. Where I think that this stuff is kind of smoked out. So I think having him around. And Pete Carmichael still being involved in the offense, and Carmichael's had a last, bad 2 years. He needs a little bit of a revival. That working alongside a guy like Carr, who's been with Gruden, who understands this West Coast offense that Peyton, Breeze, and Carmichael called for nearly 15 seasons, and have somebody back around that, look, you get the terminology, you understand the keys and the schemes and what to look for. The reads, where the ball's supposed to go. I don't hate this. I really think that this might be something that, from just a workmanship standpoint, that this could pay, advantage Saints in having a really good offense in year one under Carr. and somebody that can be formidable because, the more we talk about the quarterback storylines within the NFC and the AFC, it's wild how much the talent is so heavy on the AFC of the league. I mean, look, there is no names on the NFC side. Somebody may emerge. Somebody may pop. Jordan Love might put it together at Green Bay. Geno Smith might be for real in Seattle. Desmond Ridder might be a player in Atlanta. I just don't know yet. Derek Carr's a player. He's when compared to the rest of the league, outside of the, Jalen Hurts with Philadelphia, I'm telling you, you put the NFC quarterbacks on paper, it looks like the XFL. It's a bunch of guys that you're like, wow, I forgot about that guy. Kyle Trask, Desmond Ridder, Jordan Love. Guys that, were playing in Tiger Stadium a couple of years ago.
Baker Mayfield.
An old Matt Stafford. A banged up Kyler Murray.
With no DeAndre Hopkins.
Where are they? They're all on the AFC. Think about it. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers. Justin Herbert. Who knows what Peyton can do with Russell Wilson? It's just all of the quarterback talent is in the AFC, and it's a quarterback league. You got to have one to win it. The days of the Baltimore Ravens winning with Trent Dilfer is just it's non-existent anymore. Really, I don't see a defense that can pop up and stop, kill some of the best. I don't see a defense that can throttle Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I don't see a defense, being made that can, shut down Joe Burrow and Josh Allen. So,
I guess if you are the Saints, you have to look, like you said, you have to look at the NFC and go, what, the Eagles? Is that the only team that you would really point to? And
I guess.
The NFC South is as wide open as it's going to be.
Like I said, look, it's a bunch of unproven. Somebody might step up, and somebody will. That's football. That's sports. Somebody does. There's somebody that we have no idea what their name is, or we've just not talked about them a lot. That's going to be, 6 weeks in, you saying, man, this guy's an early MVP candidate.
I don't see it, but like I said, you go through. I'm going through just a Sporting News article, the NFC's top 16 quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts obviously won. After that, Dak Prescott doesn't scare me. Justin Fields, who knows what the hell he is?
I
because
forget about Dak.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. He doesn't not a threat. But if you talk about Dak or Derek Carr, I'm fine with either one. I'll line that game up. It just doesn't feel like there's any sort of. So I guess this is why if you are the Saints, you have a chance to make some noise in the NFC because there's not a lot of teams around you that are very good, and if you can get it right with the offensive output that the Saints have and the players they have on that side of the ball, they could actually make some noise. And I don't know what that gets you with the AFC being as good as it is, but if you make a run in the NFC, at least you have a chance to make put together a formidable year. So go get Jon Gruden and see if you can find a way to make that offense at least somewhat a threat, because on paper it should be when you have an Alvin Kamara, when you have is that his old jersey?
Wow, look at this guy.
Player,
at this
manager,
guy, man.
coach, owner.
Coach, you look
down 58.
Hot boy summer, coach.
Watch out!
Look at the guy, man. He just tossed that jersey on like game. He was starting tonight.
He did.
Ronnie Rant's next here on the Jordy Culotta Show.
Bring him out the pin.
David Carr, Derek Carr. Who gives a damn? The Rougarou. We're talking about it next.
Throwing Friday against Tulane.
Coach, you look fantastic.
Look great.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
and we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Are you looking for sound financial advice? Then get in touch with Daniel Newman of Edward Jones. You can call him today at 225-261-8262 or email him daniel.newman@edwardjones.com. If you're planning for retirement, saving for college for children or grandchildren, or just looking for sound investment opportunities, get in touch with Daniel today, 225-261-8262, located on Magnolia Square Drive in Central. Daniel Newman of Edward Jones.
Don't let the name fool you. Men's Total Health has offerings for the ladies, too. Guys, is your wife or partner suffering from urinary incontinence, low sexual desire, or pain during sex? Then the O-Shot might be for her. Don't let it scare you. It's totally natural. It's PRP. And Mike Roach and the crew at Men's Total Health will make you as comfortable as you can be. Contact me for more information, Katie at JordyCulottaShow.com, and I'm happy to tell you everything that Men's Total Health has to offer for the ladies.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go-Mart and On The Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go-Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
Welcome back, Tuesday edition, post-Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to you out there. Hopefully everybody had a good, safe one. I know Jimbo was shirt off on Memorial Day. Had to be. Working on the tan. Ronnie Rance looking good here on opening day for the Rougarou.
We got legs.
Yeah, little exposed. Yeah. Little exposed.
Abs are poking through.
But feeling confident here on this Tuesday as Ron comes in.
Should I go like this?
Yeah, you go.
Should I go
more
like
managerial,
that?
more
there
executive.
You go.
Hell,
I might be able to do
go that. I mean, I can. At least I have an option now.
You look like the owner.
Before it was right here.
Manager.
Hey, bring that guy in here.
Yeah. Close that door, son.
I mean, if
Ronnie
you need a pair of pants, I could give you
with
some.
Ron.
We might not be too far off.
Ron, what do you mean, year 2? Rougarou?
Yeah. We bought it February 1, 2022, a day that will live in infamy. And then
goes through history.
Yeah, here we are, season 2, opening night, May 30th tonight.
Hell yeah, man. Cane Cutters in town.
Defending champs.
Stewie's former team. Stewie get to start with the Cane Cutters. So, Ron, we're going to get to the Rougarou and get to opening night. Let's talk a little LSU baseball.
Yep.
This is it, man. This is the time of the year where, right, I mean, like, you got here. The first time you saw, 6,000 at the old box, you were probably bug-eyed. But then your first regional, what was it like for you? I mean, that week.
Yeah, I mean, it was, 1991 was my first regional. I was a freshman. Yeah, it's a long time ago. And
that was...
And the thing I remember about that regional was the regional itself started 2 or 3 days late because it rained so much. They were actually considering moving the regional to like Texas A&M. There was talk of the Superdome.
Is that where they brought the helicopter in?
They did. They brought it in. All they did was just move the water around. It didn't do anything. I always wondered about that because like it doesn't go up and out of the fence.
Taking it with
like,
you.
It's just if there's a puddle in center, now there's a little bit left and right.
Yeah, I think Clipsy just wanted to show I could get the chopper here.
Back then, that was probably the WBRZ chopper. Right. You know, the manships were rolling. But anyway, but we ended up playing, and I remember all of our outfielders wore high-top cleats. Rich Cordani in left, Lyle Mouton in right, Armando Rios in center.
High-top Converse.
And they went high-top Converse, and you could only see about half their shoes. That's how much water was standing.
Oh, wow.
We actually played the whole regional with the tarp on the track so that it was just out, ready to go, because we had to put it on and off so much. So that's what I remember about that. We beat the Raging Cajuns in the finals to go to the World Series. And then in 92, I actually got a start against Tulane, beat Tulane. We were in an elimination game as our third game. We won the first game, lost the second to Ohio State 5-0. They had a guy who went to the big leagues. He got healthy on us late in the year. And then we had faced elimination against Tulane in game 3. I started. We won. Gave up a run in the top of the first. Felt like crap. And then Chris Mook hit a grand slam in the bottom of the first. We went up 4-1, and we won 7-2.
Third base quarterback.
7-3, I believe.
Quality start.
And Chris Mook was, and I had a good start. It was an 11 a.m. Saturday morning elimination game at the box. It was 175 degrees, and it was one of the best moments of my life. It was on my birthday.
I remember.
Pitched on my birthday.
I remember. Me and my grandfather were there. I remember walking up the ramp and seeing the box. It was like it was a beautiful day.
Yeah, beautiful, hot, sunny day.
A day like you take a postcard of the box.
Right.
It was filled. This team reminds you of those teams because it seemed like those teams would flip a switch when this time of the year came. You guys seemed like a different program. Does this team have that in watching them that you've seen up to this point?
Man, that's so hard to say just because things are so different now as far as how teams work and maneuver and add and subtract and NIL and everything else. I mean, we were lucky to get a discount at Brewbacher's, for a burger. Now
we got Todd Walker with us. Jesus,
I mean,
he's right here.
Doug Cosman. Doug, can I get a free soft drink at least or something? An extra little bit of fries? I mean, anything.
A refill?
No was the answer.
Todd, you cannot.
Yeah, I mean, good Lord. I mean, now you got guys that have Brewbacher's tattooed on their arm for $10,000. So. It's just a completely different world, but this team does not remind me of any of the three teams I was on because we really had pitching throughout, right? I mean, we had Mike Sorotka and Chad Auger and Paul Bird. I mean, they've got Skeens, who's better than everybody who's ever played at LSU, but then after that, it's okay, hang with them. But the offense, right, is stupid. I mean, that offense is as good as the offenses they've had. The 2000 offense was probably the best with a regular bat. I mean, you throw out the 95 to 98 years, no disrespect to Eddie Furness or any of those guys, but I mean, the big barrel was just such a giant game changer. But if you go back to before 95 and after 98, I think the 2000 team had the best offense, top to bottom, and I think they hit 345 that year as an offense or something and won the national championship. That's counting postseason. Yeah. So they're probably the best. But then and in 91 and 93, we won the national championships and hit 85 homers, only 85 homers. So it's a different era now. But those dudes they've got with White and Cruz, LSU's never had a lineup back-to-back with two guys like that.
Yeah. What do you make of Tommy White?
He's unbelievable, man. Interesting conversation I had with him early in the season, game 1 or 2, down in the tunnel. I said, hey, tell me about, you hit your story, how you got here. And he talked about NC State was one of the first teams recruited him and all that stuff. And then, he wanted a chance to play at a school that had a chance to go to Omaha. So that's why he went to NC State. Plus, they did a good job. They were on him early. He was thinking about Notre Dame, but it was too cold. And he's from around the Clearwater area. And, he's a different kind of cat, right? He wants to do things the Tommy White way. Uh-huh. And that's why he went to NC State. He said they didn't want to change him. They didn't want to make him do this or that or cut his hair or do the tats or let him swing for the fences. They wanted him to be him, and he let him. But he didn't know anything about LSU. He said, what did you know about LSU? He said, I knew it was a really good SEC program. That's all he knew. Wow. So he didn't know anything about history or anything like that. But the guy does something that he can be off balance. He can take breaking balls the other way. He can hit it the other way. Reminds me of DJ LeMahieu, but with a lot more power. as a young hitter, being able to go the other way with it, probably more than 50% of the time. So I just think he's fantastic, and he's going to be a great. I mean, look, I can't wait till next year when he's the guy, and he's going to have another unbelievable year.
Right. Is LSU the best team in the league right now?
Man, when is Skeens pitching? Yes. You know what I mean? That's the answer. Skeens is pitching. They can beat anybody, including the Yankees. When he's not pitching, I put Skeens at 95% confidence. I give myself 60 to 65% confidence with Floyd. And then after that, it's a coin flip. Everybody else.
Thatcher Hurd has not made up any ground for you over the last
Well,
couple
he
weeks.
has, but like,
It's too much
can we
makeup.
do it 3 times out of 4? Like he has one good one, one bad one, one good one, one bad one. So that's what I'm saying from a confidence standpoint of knowing what you're going to get. It's like Lloyd, right? You want to know what you're going to get from Lloyd day in and day out, and he's proven over the last couple of years that he can wake up and get here on time, and so therefore I've got confidence in Lloyd. Right. But when it comes to all the other
Asking a
LSU
lot.
pitchers, yeah, I mean, like you came from a long way down. Dude.
We're here.
We got time, but anyway. But my point is that like I have 50% confidence whenever it's not any of those two guys.
Yeah. How cool has this been? Being an administrator in baseball, because you've done it all in baseball now.
Yeah.
You've coached, you've called it on the television, you've played it, you've
I worked in
recruited
minor
it,
league baseball.
You've
yeah.
you've sold equipment around it. You've
Right.
you've done everything.
Well,
like,
you reminded me of a lot of things.
Right. What is this part like?
No, it's been fun. It's been fun. It's been a labor of love. I think that's the
sure.
I mean, fun. I don't know if fun's the word, but it's
Fun
been
to
a
you.
It's been a labor of love. I enjoy working with Casey McKenzie. Grayson McDonald has a lot of passion for what we do. The interns have been great to work with. At LSU, we have like 18 of them this summer, and most of them are getting class credit for their school. So it's been fun. I'm hoping that the fans will, and they are. They're excited about it. We got a lot more buzz going on. We've got summer camps coming up for the kids. We've got different things. I just want. I'm hoping that the community the buy-in from the community is there to support what we're trying to do because we're working hard.
Yeah, Rooster Southall he's a great name around baseball, like especially for the youth.
Yeah.
But I mean, you get to know Rooster. He's a great dude. He's got to be cool to work with day in day out.
We've got 2 awesome coaches with us. Rooster Southall, who's 60 years old. He played at LSU under the Jack LeMahieu era, and then was an assistant as a GA under Skip in the late 80s. And then, of course, worked the Skip Bertman camp for decades, legendary figure and personality. And he's been an associate scout. He's done everything. Another guy sold around baseball and everything else. Right. So kids are going to enjoy playing for him. He's a lot of fun, and he's looking forward to it. And then Sean Teague, who played at LSU with me in the mid-'90s and then was a pitching coach at Georgia Southern, Tulane, over the years, and then most recently has helped with Episcopal as a non-faculty coach for 7 or 8 years, and just a fantastic pitching guy and a good friend. And so I'm excited to be around those guys. I know we got a couple young coaches that are cutting their teeth right out of college.
What's it like recruiting this roster?
It's a challenge because we're going to actually have 4 LSU players that are going to play with us once the season's over. Guidry is going to play with us as a position player, as an infielder. He's not going to pitch at all. That's something coming from the coaches. They don't want him to throw, but he'll be on the infield, when he's with us because he's got to get his ABs and because he's going to try to play there at LSU. We got 3 young freshman pitchers that are redshirting this year that are going to be with us, including the Moffitt kid who throws 100. But so you got those guys, and then we got a lot of guys from schools you never heard of, junior colleges and things like that. So early on in the year, you get a lot of JUCOs and a lot of other guys some chances because the bigger schools are playing still, and they're not going to be with you until the regionals are over with or World Series is over with. So the second half of the year, kind of the late June, is when a lot of the bigger names come in. But early on, you get those guys that are hungry, that are trying to get to the big schools, that are in the transfer portal or trying to get better.
What time's first pitch?
7 p.m. is the first pitch for all of our games. We actually play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday this week, May 30th, 31st, and 1st. We play 3 games in 3 days. Paul Maneri's throwing out the first pitch tomorrow on Wednesday and is going to talk to the team. Tomorrow, Wednesday is USSSA night. If any baseball team that's a travel ball team or even softball team, we've had a couple of them call, you come out, you RSVP, we're going to give you 20 free tickets to the game, and then whichever team brings the most fans is going to win $500 cash.
Wow.
So,
That's great promotion.
so we did it last year, worked out well. We've got like 20 teams lined up so far. So that's on Wednesday night, the 31st. Tonight's opening night. That takes care of itself. And we've also got all kind of, specials at the concession stand, that kind of thing.
You having me back out?
I would love to get you back out, man. We got to put you on the calendar.
Might have to go cleats next time.
Yeah.
You almost slipped?
Nearly came out from under me, yeah.
Oh, that's not a good deal.
It wouldn't have been good, but put it over the plate.
Athlete.
Skip, do they make Omaha?
What does Skip Bertman think?
Yeah.
Hey, guys, I turned 85 on May 23rd. 85 years young. And happy birthday also to my lovely wife, Sandy Bear. She turned 85 a few months ago. So I've got a little, went for the older
Punching up.
chick. I don't know if you know the story. Met her in the lunchroom. I was teaching back in Miami Beach, North Aventura. It's where the Jewish population lives in northern Miami. I don't know if you know I am Jewish, Jordy. And, she was in the lunchroom, and I was like, oof. Look at that.
Have a winner.
So I went and got a milk and a yeast roll and slid into her. We didn't have DMs back then. I slid into her table. I could move and bend a lot easier back then. It's had a seat. Said, "What's your name, hot stuff?" And rest is history. 4 daughters later. And here we are in Baton Rouge. Never would have thought. North Miami to Baton Rouge, but we're River Bend for the last 35 years.
Coach, I saw you and Paul. You and Jay
the
Johnson.
team. Forgot about that.
Right. I saw you and Jay Johnson sharing some
Jay.
time yesterday. What did words of encouragement for Jay? Right.
That was good. We had a good visit, I guess. Jay's a great guy, and he and Paul, much shorter than I am, even at 85. They're shorter. Jay is intense. That's the word I would use, intense. Got a lot of moxie. It's another Jewish word. He's a mensch. Am I using them all? That's all I've got. Anyway, he's a great one. And, he grew up an LSU fan. I don't know if you knew that. 14 years old. He got his first LSU, big fan of mine, got the book, The System, which was the first book I released back in the early 90s. And Jay's dad is a football coach. And so he kind of coaches like a football guy, very intense. I was a lot more relaxed with the boys, except when Rance pitched. Jesus Christ. Didn't throw enough strikes. But anyway, I think they got a great team. He's doing a great job. And that Skeens guy is special.
Ooh. Baton Rouge, Rougarou.com. BRRougarou.com.
BRRougarou.com. Don't ask me how to spell it. BRRougarou.com. Jumbo, we call him Slimbo these days, doing a great job.
First pitch, 7 o'clock, every game. Opening night tonight. Ronnie Rance, Skip Bertman, Baton Rouge, Rougarou. We'll be back. Close it out. Donaldsonville Glass and Body, the trusted name in frame, body, and automotive paint repair since 1977. They have served their customers for over 45 years. You can find them online at dgbauto.com or stop in and see them Railroad Avenue and Division Street out in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Look, they can help you with your insurance claims. They can make the repair process as stress-free as possible. I'm speaking from experience here. I've got numerous windshields, body repair, all done by Kenny and the crew over at Donaldsonville Glass and Body. They are, without question, the most well-equipped shop in the area. Stop in and see them today. Shop them online, dgbauto.com, or stop in and see the crew over in Division Street in Donaldsonville, Louisiana. Donaldsonville Glass and Body. Hey fellas, it's Jordy Culotta for my friends over at Men's Total Health. Guys, do you suffer from fatigue, decreased libido, erectile dysfunction, weight gain or loss of muscle mass, signs of depression, anxiety, hair loss, mental fog, general loss of interest, then you might be suffering from low testosterone. Go see my friend Mike Roach and his great team over at Men's Total Health, over in Metairie at menstotalhealth.net online. And stop in and see how they can change your life today. A simple shot and some knowledge from Mike Roach can get you back up, moving with your energy, get your sex drive back, build your muscle mass, make you feel young again. All online, menstotalhealth.net. Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
We're all from different places and backgrounds. We've each experienced our own versions of life, but in the end, we're all on the same team. I'm part of that team, along with these players in purple and gold.
Kayshawn Buddha, Malik Neighbors, Miles Frazier,
Kyron Lacy,
Greg Brooks.
Whether on the field or in the courtroom, your team matters.
So join our team.
Make a difference.
Bet. Let's get it done.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
All right, welcome back here. Tuesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. As appreciate Ronnie Rance for stopping in here on this Tuesday as we wrap up LSU and the regional site. Tigers going to host this weekend, as we said, one of 8 SEC teams to be hosting in the field of 64 of the 16 sites. LSU and 7 other SEC squads are in, along with Tennessee and Texas A&M, who is in the field. So LSU's got 10 teams in, and I look at Texas A&M in the Stanford Regional as the 2 seed, as a very dangerous squad. And then when you talk about Tennessee, Tennessee is another team that if you're looking at them on paper, they'll scare the life out of you if they are. I'm trying to find their information on their regional and make sure I don't screw it up.
Number 2 seed in the Clemson Regional.
There you go. Number 2 seed in the Clemson Regional. So
Clemson's stumbling a little bit out of the ACC tournament, so don't be surprised if you see Tennessee punch their ticket there, because
both of them,
for as much has been made and much maligned as Tennessee baseball was last year, they obviously haven't been able to keep that pace of what they were last year, where they had guys throwing 105 and they were pimping everything and flipping people off, and Vitello's getting kicked out of games. But they've slowly just kind of plodded along, and now they're going into a regional where they very much have a chance to win it in the Clemson Regional. So don't be surprised if Tennessee baseball starts to get hot now.
Right. Yes, did you see this story? Jeff and Kenner is tipping us off to this story about the hotel rooms at the University of Kentucky with their baseball regional site announced. They've got no hotel rooms within like a 100-mile radius.
Kentucky
does it?
does
a couple
it?
of music festivals, and they never envisioned themselves hosting a regional for baseball. So they didn't hold any hotel rooms, so nobody has anywhere to stay.
What music festival is there?
I don't know what they have. They have got a couple of things coming up, and one of them is a music festival. Another thing is like a country music. They've got
so
something
this is
going
Lexington,
on.
right?
Yeah, in Lexington. And I think they're like gonna ask, like they're gonna have to like stay in like dorm rooms. Like the teams are gonna have to like stay like. They're gonna have to like almost like turn their.
Where do you go?
I mean, they're lost.
It's like going to baseball camp.
Right, but again,
community
this is a terrible situation.
Oh, it's a terrible situation.
So how far away are they going to have to stay? Are they staying on campus?
On campus, twin beds and a community bathroom.
Yeah,
Coach.
I mean, you can make that fun, I guess, but
like,
for a night.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
One
but I'm
night.
here all
After I
weekend.
go play 2 baseball games,
and I don't know where I'm going next.
and I gotta go hang out, and
And I'm in here with the rest of the team and the other teams.
Ugh,
It might get ugly.
what a disaster.
Teams traveling to Lexington Regional will stay in UK-issued dorm rooms.
I mean, let's hope their dorms are nice. Nice and
They're not that nice.
Yeah.
The 3 teams traveling to Lexington as Kentucky baseball prepares to host an NCAA baseball tournament regional will have to stay on campus in dorm rooms. At least they figured that out. It was revealed on Monday. There's not enough room in local hotels to accommodate the coaches and players due to the Railbird Music Festival, also set to take place in the city this weekend. So they had no
confidence.
No confidence that we're hosting this thing.
I mean, if you're that coach, I'm his agent calling like, give me my extension.
Yeah, I mean,
you obviously didn't expect that we were going to perform. Give me my extension.
No, it's the same thing that happened to the Atlanta Hawks. Whenever they had a tournament, they had a concert planned. Yeah, they're like, we're actually playing basketball that night. They're like, oh, well, we booked a concert.
Well, we
don't have to move that thing
It was
back.
like J-Lo. I mean, it was
it was a huge
one.
deal.
Yeah, it was a big deal.
But this is an unbelievable story because it seems like when would you think that they would know that they might have a chance to host this?
Oh, the last couple of weeks, they were probably like,
uh-oh,
we're in trouble.
This is not good.
And we want to host.
And that music festival's probably been sold out.
Months.
Yeah, I mean, like
a year.
You think about that. I mean, as soon as they announce that, I'm sure it's got like some, crazy touring, crazy backing behind it that people just like flock to it.
And so, baseball is not going to be the priority this weekend up in Lexington. These people are all coming in to go to the Railbird Music Festival, June 3rd and 4th. Join the wait list. Yeah, it's sold out.
Yeah.
Zach Bryan, Tyler Childers. Oh, this is Kentucky.com. Oh, yeah.
Jean shorts and boots.
I mean, it's going to be a wild weekend, though. I guess you can get a little baseball in and get a little music festival in. It's not a bad weekend, but these people already have no intention of going to see a baseball game. So they're not going to give up their hotel rooms.
No way.
Not for them.
No, I got to go see Zach Bryan band.
I don't care about no baseball.
I mean, good luck to the Wildcats.
We're basketball
season basketball
yet?
school.
Yeah, right.
Wait, who's in their regional?
Let's see here. I got it right here. Kentucky, West Virginia, Indiana, and Ball State.
I mean, West Virginia's going to love a country music fest, too.
Right.
The Wild Whites of West Virginia. Boone County Mating Call.
That's what we're trying to do. Trying to go to the country.
That's going to look insane on TV.
What?
I mean, if they don't have anywhere to stay, I don't know if people are going to go.
I mean, what are they going to do with you're putting up every team's staffer, player, and coach. You dress 30 in baseball, right?
Right.
30-man roster. You've got a support staff for a baseball team. I mean, you look at the dugout during a baseball game.
You probably have 15 people.
I mean,
there.
it's always packed.
Right.
It don't matter if the team's in the field or if they're up to bat.
It's
the dugout is. I mean, you got people hanging over the fence.
Yeah, you're packed in.
I mean, I would say so. You got 30 players. I'd say you got 20 more staffers. I'd say we're traveling 50. Every game, we're traveling 50. I mean,
and that's not even to count the people in the bullpen.
You got 150 You got 150 people just on the teams.
I'm trying to find their board, see what they're, because the Kentucky Sports Radio is like they have a massive following. So I'm wondering what the pulse of the community is.
You don't live on campus during the summer, right? If you go to summer school, you can't
I don't think
those things are shut down, like dorms and college.
I know the dorms are for sure.
They are?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like that's the only option they have.
It's gonna suck.
Yeah, that's the only option they have.
Yeah,
I just hope Kentucky has nice dorms. In that case,
I mean, you got to. They were probably stripped and moved out of last week.
Yeah. But
I mean, so now you're telling people you got to bring your linens.
Yeah.
You got to bring your own pillow. You got to. I mean,
twin extra long, coach.
This is a cluster, coach.
Oh my goodness.
I mean,
just imagine playing 3 hours of baseball and you got to go lay in a twin extra long bed.
No TV. No, just get a microwave.
No TV. They don't even have a microwave in there. It might not.
I mean, you got to act like you're essentially moving back in.
Yeah.
Like you're going to school.
You're going back to school, but for a weekend. Yeah.
Oh,
brutal.
I'm out.
That is brutal, man.
I mean, that could be the difference between winning and losing a regional.
Easily.
Yes.
Easily.
100%.
Easily.
It doesn't feel like we're at home right now.
I mean, that's
Coach.
advantage Kentucky. That's huge home field advantage, Kentucky.
Yeah.
That's wild.
All right, I appreciate everybody being there. Make sure to hit that like button, share button, comment button as Tuesday edition. Thank you to Doug Thompson and Ronnie Rance here for some good baseball information. Don't forget brrougarou.com. Opening night, first pitch, 7 o'clock tonight versus the Cane Cutters. LSU baseball is going to face Tulane at 2 o'clock on Friday for game 1 of the Baton Rouge Regional. Remember, Daily, we're brought to you by Katie's Restaurant. If you're down in New Orleans, stop in and see Katie's on Iberville Street. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Katie'sInMidCity.com. Incredible menu to choose from over at Katie's. Katie'sInMidCity.com. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more of the Jordy Culotta Show built by RMB Builders. Have a great Tuesday.
Peace.